open here, and we know that Freddy, if he doesn't end up going Shyvana, which, 4 out of 5 Shyvana games, 3 out of 4 Shyvana games so far, and Renekton, both of those champions you'd expect to feature in here.
Yeah, but I think maybe Gambit is thinking about taking a jungler, because they're already 3 jungle bans. If there's something they can take away from SK here, they might want to go for it. Or there's obviously the Dr. Mundo.
Or the Mundo, which when I said both champions, I actually was more thinking along the Mundo lines rather than the change Shyvana at this point, and that will be the Mundo locked in then for Gambit, for Darien in that top lane. No Warwick this time around, and I don't think he really minds too much. This still is very much a Darien style champion.
This is like go wherever you want,
yeah.
Whenever you're like get into the mid lane game and you're so tanky they can't kill you, just run in the face of them all the time. Darien loves this. SK now on the other hand, what are they going to pick versus Dr. Mundo? Renekton is not a very strong pick versus him. You have like the pressure early game, but Dr. Mundo will outscale you so hard. Shyvana was the go-to pick before. With the nerfs, will they actually still go for him?
Is it still safe enough against this Mundo in that lane? And what else Gambit can obviously throw up to that one? Freddy has, as you said, played the Renekton, but that might not be the ideal choice for him. Will they even think about locking in the bottom lane at this point with everything left on the board?
This Tristana pick right here, don't be too sure that it's AD carry Tristana. I mean, a bot lane Tristana. This could potentially be 1v1 top lane Tristana on Freddy. You have healing reduction for Dr. Mundo, and you have a lot of early game pressure on him because of your range. You can just poke him out and you can free farm. I love this pickup if they do go top with it.
And your range is only getting bigger as well. That's even the beauty of that one. As Darien starts to scale up on that one, you just stand further away and are able to continue to hammer away. But the Blitzcrank for nRated as well, we should really touch on that one because an old favorite of his.
I mean, the old favorite of nRated, bit weird to blind pick it like this. I mean, we have no idea what Gambit is going to play. He's obviously not going to be able to hook in Dr. Mundo. That would give absolutely no reason for us. So, bit surprised they do pick it right now, but I think SK just wants to see what Gambit is playing and then counter pick it, or they expected Edward to play it.
Well, let's see, because one surprising to see Edward go somewhere like Thresh. You have a couple of hooks in there, but the Kennen locked in. Now, this is again a few weeks ago, you might say, alright, that's a Kennen for Alex here, surely, but the fact that Edward has now played Kennen in the support role, and the fact that he could still go into the mid lane, although you just wouldn't expect it at this point, will be paired in with the Jinx either way, is what we know.
Yeah, and if it is Kennen support, he's going to have a lot of early game, poke towards the Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank has to hook him in to actually do something, but Kennen has a lot of good early game poke, he has the stuns and everything, and if he should get pulled in at around level 6, he can just instantly ultimate, and they can try and take down the Blitzcrank. If it's see Israel actually being locked in, so that means Tristana top or mid lane.
Tristana top or mid lane, but we were thinking about this one before we came into this week, and that Tristana coming up here, that was a good call, Officio. You pretty much nailed that one. Amumu as well, going to be locked in. We talked a little bit about him earlier on in the show, that with the change to those jungle items, that he can sustain a lot better now in the jungle.
Yeah, Amumu can basically just stay in the jungle and just keep farming. He will not run out of mana, even though he uses all his abilities to clear. So he's actually having very fast clear speed. This will mean if the lanes from SK Gaming can survive by themselves, and Mumu can just farm, and once you get to the first team fight, around the 18-20 minute mark, you should actually be fairly strong, and this could signal for SK that they can actually win the first fight.
Well, did they ban Kayle here because Alex wants to go Zed?
Yeah, that is a chance. It could also be because you want to go LeBlanc, but generally, I think we've just realized right now how strong Kayle is, and you want to take her out.
Well, Zed or LeBlanc, but the look on Genja's face there tells me they didn't want maybe to have that LeBlanc in there.
Yeah, I don't think that was the reason. Wait, so this has to be now a set jungle with LeBlanc mid. But yeah, I don't think it actually was the plan.
I don't think it was a plan either. Just looking at how Genja reacted to that one, I think they left it a little bit too late in terms of the selection, so there's going to be a few switcheroos going on in Gambit, and they've got Jinx, so that fits perfectly. On the other side here for SK Gaming though, we've got a top lane. Tristana is what we're pretty much set with at this point. The Blitzcrank and Ezreal lane, Amumu for the jungle. Who are they going to go with now in that mid lane? And, well, we could have maybe guessed it from what Jesiz has played so far. Poke heavy, safer in the lane, good escape. It's going to be Needly this time around.
Now, the SK lineup is kind of weird. You have like hard engage, you have the pull, and then you have your poke with Nidalee. If they go in too early without landing any spears or any poke from Candy Panda, they're not gonna do much in a team fight. At the same time, they need a Mumu to be very tanky, because he's the only real tank right here. If he dies instantly, the whole backline of SK is very squishy. They don't have any CC to bring except for the knock-up from Blitzcrank. This again, talking with if a Mumu is dead. So Gambit will be able to pretty much roll over them. I would be very happy to see though if Diamond does the same as Svenskeren with his jungle set and simply just farms, and we don't pretty much see anything early game, and then we see two junglers coming out very strong and maybe be able to carry the games.
Well, we've got two very mobile teams as well on the other side of things, so this game hoping is going to be a lot of fun. Certainly some interesting picks for us, and as we get underway, let's check out the voting results to see where you guys cast your ballot, and it's a big number, I'm afraid, if you're an SK fan. 89% of you voting here for Gambit.
I mean, looking at the lineups, yes, there was maybe the wrong pick from Gambit, but the SK one, I have a hard time seeing it work unless they do everything right. I mean, they have to land the right poke and then engage it. Just with like when they have enough poke, they just need to land a hook or the bandage touch from a Mumu. If they miss any of these skill shots, they don't really have any engage and they can't start a fight, and Gambit can just run away and then heal and come back.
What do we think to jungle Zed here? Because, funnily enough, you played it in a game the other day that I was watching of you. How strong is it? I mean, it's Diamond running a jungle, whatever. So it's obviously got potential if they meant to lock it in the end. But talk to us what you think about that one.
It's strong if you get like a very good start. If you're able to farm, get an early kill or two, then you can actually start going into more mid lane set-ish damage. But if you fall behind with jungle set, you're going to be so useless and not be able to kill anyone.
Well, here we go then. It's Gambit versus SK Gaming. Our fourth game of the day here in week 2 of the European LCS. And who knows what this game is going to throw our way. I'm certainly excited to see the likes of nRated on Blitzcrank here. We've got Zed for Diamondprox in the jungle. We've got LeBlanc for EpicSkillshot. So many great things to see, and that's without even mentioning Freddy122. We say, you know, he loves these tanky top laners playing Tristana.
I mean, this champ select itself has been so many different picks. Nobody could really predict any of this. A bit surprised SK, or not surprised actually, but SK has the Blitzcrank. They could do the level 1 invade, but due to the fact they have like Nidalee and a Mumu who brings absolutely nothing for a level 1 fight, they don't really decide to go for anything. Maybe we might see them try a late invade or a deep ward, but I don't expect it.
Well, Svenskeren could be forced into bandage toss and the spears could come out from Jesiz, but and something tells them they're not going to risk anything here, SK. They've got what I'd say is pretty much an experimental team comp, and certainly some experimental positions. We'll see how the whole damage or healing reduction from Tristana works out against Darien's Dr. Mundo. Alex, what are you doing? Well, he kind of baited that one in, but he's also baited out his own flash there.
Very nice position by nRated. David must have predicted Alex always goes in there to ward, so he was waiting for him with the Blitzcrank. We see 2v1 coming in though versus Tristana. I'm very excited to see how that's actually going to work out.
Well, we'll see in a second. SK here starting off by their blue buff with Svenskeren getting help for Candy Panda. Mistimed his Q a little bit there for that one. That won't matter too much though, as we see Gambit get underway here with the red buff for Diamond. And they're keeping hidden here, Gambit, for as long as they can in this top lane.
Yeah, so Freddy, now he spots Edward, so he knows this is a 2v1. If they can manage to zone him away so he doesn't really get any CS, he's going to have a long time till the late game point where Tristana really is strong, and it's going to make the first few teamfights for Gambit a lot easier. So I like this lane swap actually.
We'll see how Darien can hold up in this 2v1 lane. Funnily enough, when we saw the swaps earlier on in our last game, it was the top tower that went down first because of some different positional plays and what have you. Diamond actually going up to blue. We can see that Darien already taking big hits.
Yeah, and another smart part from Gambit on this is Blitzcrank cannot push turret at all. I mean, if he goes into melee range and Diamond is there, they can punish him instantly. So SK is going to have a hard time pushing the turret, especially if Diamond is there. And if Diamond is there, he can also pick up more farm. He might though go for a rather easy dive on a very squishy Tristana in top lane.
We can see that they weren't really pushing that lane now, making sure that only the last hits come in there from SK. Freddy 0 CS right now, as is Darien down the bottom. But we first start to see our first roaming Zed play here on Diamond, something that, of course, he loves to do on other champions. He's up on the top side of Jesiz, who's actually going to get chained up here. The stun will come down, and they're going to dive straight in onto him, and there's the barrier used.
Wow. Nice damage coming out of Gambit right here. The barrier saves Jesiz, or at least saves him from not flashing. This does mean, though, they can actually push the bot tower from SK, but they will just push the mid tower instead for Gambit.
That almost felt as though that was a surprise, or Jesiz thought that was just didn't expect Diamond to be there, because he literally just walked away from that one, the chains going off. In the end, obviously only using his barrier, not using the flashes. Darien gets pulled out. He flashes straight back under his tower. Meanwhile, Jesiz here being pushed down by Diamond, but again, not quite enough damage to finish him off. But that turret, about half of its damage, of its health gone already.
Yeah, I mean, Diamond is completely ignoring the solo laners right here. I mean, the side lanes. He's just going full in for Jesiz. They force the flash, they force the barrier. When Alex hits level 6, he will be able to pick up a kill on Jesiz alone.
Good few flashes down across the board, just as we were saying that Jesiz had saved his. He has to use it in the end. Darien, of course, has used his down on this bottom lane as well. We should mention at this point that he does have that teleport in there, so we could see Darien getting involved elsewhere should he be called in.
Right now, though, Freddy's pretty happy just farming away. He didn't get dived, and 2v1, Gambit cannot dive him alone. So for him right now, he can just pick up some CS, pick up some experience, and actually in a pretty fine spot.
Yeah, not taking too much damage from the poke there of Edward if he, actually lands. See Jesiz finally getting back into lane. He's picked up double Doran's blades here as he just tries to pick off those minions off to the side to keep himself as close as possible here in this CS. And without that flash, without that barrier, he knows that he's going to have to be super careful here in this mid lane.
And a big issue for him right now is that the lane is pushing towards Alex. So Alex will just keep zoning him away from CS, and the only thing he can do is try and land a spear and then pick up the CS that way.
Now that bottom lane, or the top lane now as it is, obviously, with Svenskeren moving into that one. Edward and Genja not pushed up too far on this one, just making sure that they don't push that wave too quickly out there. Genja just getting his last hits in. He's slightly ahead here of Candy Panda in those 2v1s in terms of the CS, and actually Svenskeren showing himself there in the top lane. Diamond though may make a visit to middle, but we can see Jeziz's position, trying to play it as safe as possible.
This will be a very risky dive if they do go for it. I think more he just wanted to counter jungle because he knew Amumu was top lane at this point. He can maybe try and go down bot lane, but they won't actually be able to kill them 2v2.
Oh, we can see that bot lane is taking a lot of damage here from Candy Panda as well. Stood right on top of that turret. He's got a good wave of minions here, and with this one may be enough just to take that one down. Actually, Darien just clearing out as best as he can. He's currently 4 CS above that total that Freddy has at 20-16. The ward's coming in behind him. That's definitely a wise choice there to stop to stop Diamond coming in.
Yeah, Diamond might move down here, but again, he won't really be able to do anything. And he actually just says, never mind, I know I can't do anything, I don't have a red buff, and I'm not level 6, so my damage is pretty limited.
Actually coming over the wall from this one. Will he try and get in there? Didn't actually spot him coming down from that one because of the position of the ward, but see that Gambit finally going in towards his top. Sorry, Genja actually going to get caught out there by Svenskeren's ultimate, forced to flash in the end and use his barriers to not go down.
Yeah, Gambit wanted to just force down this turret, but Svenskeren said, nope, not gonna happen right here, I'm gonna try and kill you. And again, flash is gone. When he returns, if he returns down to a 2v2, there's a Blitzcrank hook, might potentially actually cost him his life.
Now, again, we slow things down. Gambit holding a 400 gold lead at this point of the game. That's definitely not a lot, but with Diamond here waiting on his red buff, done a lot of counter jungling up till now. 31-27 CS, not a massive lead that he has still at this point, but you get into the dragon kind of territory here for Gambit, and I'm sure as once they take down that top turret, which they almost did during that last push, that they'll start moving towards bottom and thinking about dragon.
Yeah, but SK right now has the chance, when they take down this turret, to actually go for an early dragon. But due to Jesiz being behind in the mid lane, I actually don't think they will do it. It's going to be a bit too risky, and Alex will have a lot of damage if they do go for the fight.
He's not been back to buy yet. The single Doran's ring that he's currently sat on. We can see that Freddy's having to walk back off to do the golems, which are honestly almost taking him down at this point of things. Obviously, he's sat at level 5. Double Doran's blade that he has currently, and Gambit start their invade over towards the red buff, both the duo lane and Diamond in there for that one.
Very smart move by Gambit right here. If they take down the top turret, they can go straight into the raid afterwards. If Svenskeren is there, they can try and kill him. If not, they just take a free red buff and then go down to the bot lane. If they do give it to Jinx and he goes down into the 2v2 lane, big advantage for them.
Big advantage, that turret holding on by a thread. Yeah, 8 minutes and 20 seconds in the game. We can see with that tower going to SK that the gold has normalized here, and Jesiz has started to move towards the dragon. In fact, the entire team right now from SK has moved towards the dragon. Only Darien and maybe Alex in range to do anything about this one.
And this is pretty much what you get when you delay killing the top turret for so long. It was just, SK was like, okay, they keep delaying. Never mind this, we're just going to go straight for dragon and just take it for people. Smart move by them, and Gambit didn't even try and move for it.
However, that red buff that we were talking about is already being invaded upon by Gambit. Will they send Jesiz up to try and defend Svenskeren here in this one? No, they won't. That red buff is going to be picked up by Genja, and they just simply walk on out of the jungle, leaving one small lizard behind just to cause a bit of annoyance for Svenskeren when he goes around.
Now, will Gambit swap down to the bot lane, or will they just stay top? Because there's nothing for them really to go bot for. The dragon is already dead, so it doesn't really matter which lane they're in. It's going to be a bit funny to see how they think of this. If they want to try and force down the bot turret, it has no armor, nothing, so they can actually do it with Diamond coming down and maybe forcing a dive or something.
Oh, Darien, as we've seen that bottom lane, 46 to the 35 CS of Freddy. If we compare the two players from our featured matchup earlier on, got that giant's belt in there right now as Diamond starts to stalk his way down towards that bottom lane. Only really got the slow to get things started off, but the fact that Diamond's level 7 now has that death mark could mean a quick death for either Candy Panda or nRated.
Yeah, this very slow start has benefited Diamond a lot. He's now level 7, he didn't have to do any ganks. He showed the bot like once just to quickly clear out a minion wave, and then he backed off, and then he did the whole thing in mid very early in the game. Ever since that, he just farmed. Now he's level 7, and he can actually start, you know, forcing some things with his ultimate.
And 10 minutes in, no first blood yet in this game. That may change though if Fred is not careful about it. He just rocket jumps away to the safety of his minions, and SK starts stacking up here. 4-man stack in that mid lane. Alexic is there, Diamond's there. Are they going to be able to hold this turret? And are they going to be able to stop Blitzcrank pulling one out into the middle of the pack?
Edward is coming down though. They might want to fight this. Alex took a big spear in the head though. Will they fight?
There is a super mega death rocket to get things started. They pull in, in Diamond actually. There's the ultimate coming out of Svenskeren. There's a lot of damage going on to him. There is first blood picked up by Alexic. Can they get any more? There is Alex diving onto Candy Panda, but he uses flash to get away, and that will be first blood and a 1-for-0 in the end for Gambit.
Great moves right here by Diamond. He forces all the damage onto him, and then he just pops out of the team fight. No kill for SK. On the other hand, Svenskeren was stuck in the middle of everything. Look at the engage coming in right here. Edward comes in together with the ultimate from Diamond. SK instantly sees Diamond. Look at his shadow. He pops out as soon as he's out of his CC, and then he won't die. Instead, Svenskeren, he's silenced and he's caught in the middle of everything. You're dead.
Really nicely closed in by Gambit. And we talk about that special 20-minute mark where they seem to always find themselves fighting in there 5 versus 5, whether that's for the dragon or some other objective, and from there things really get rolling for the Russian side. But this time around, 11:40, a slower start to the game than we've maybe become used to here, but a very calculated start nonetheless, as Freddy just spots that ward going down, and with that also sees Genja doing the golem. So he knows that there's at least the AD carry coming in there. We can see that Diamond has started to move down as well towards that bottom lane, but with the Tristan and rocket jump, decently safe.
Yeah, safe enough at least. He has his flash as well, if it should be needed. But look at the overall farm in this game. Gambit is actually winning pretty much every lane. We touched on this with SK being weak in the early game. Right now, Gambit, if they get one more team fight, or a big team fight, and they win this, they can actually just snowball the game from there.
500 gold lead is what they hold. Freddy again having to back out a lane and take things away from the jungle. Let's have a look down some items now that we've got another bit of a quiet period. Alexic got himself that Fiendish Codex in there. Actually, funnily enough, Jesiz has not really spent up. He must be sat on a decent amount of gold at this point. I think about 2,500 gold actually that he has. He's going to lose his turret here though to Alex.
Yeah, I mean, this was a matter of time after the whole thing Diamond did in the early game. Pressured him down, they got a lot of hits on the turret, and Alex has had full control of the lane so far. What I'm looking more at is actually Tristana, who's going to go for an early Blade of the Rune King, simply to try and split push and win the 1v1 versus Mundo.
Now, Svenskeren here just making sure that his side of the jungle is fully warded. That's how scared I think a lot of junglers are of Diamond, but he may walk into a bit of a trap here, but realizing, you know, he's Zed, he can just jump straight back on out. Svenskeren's bandage sauce didn't quite have the range to get in. Alex actually pushed quite far up on the mid lane. They might try and fight for this blue buff, actually. There are 3 men there for SK Gaming, and there is a diving Alexic. Didn't quite get it. Svenskeren had to smite it, though.
He had to smite it. Smart move right here. They force the blue buff away from Jesiz. They love to do this, and this means now Jesiz is going to have an even harder time versus the blue buff LeBlanc that he's going to pick up later on. They had to teleport, though, on Darien, so they could have gone for a fight, but they didn't really need it right now. I think they just want Darien to farm up, get some items, and then once we start seeing, you know, the dragon fights, he's going to be this big tanky Darien, we know.
No, Mondo now got that Sunfire cape in there, and that's where Darien will start to feel a lot more comfortable once he can start pushing these waves out and maybe joining Diamond in just running amok in the enemy jungle. And whilst they didn't secure that blue buff, as we said, it kept away from nearly. Is Edward actually going to get pulled in from this one? But he thought about turning that one around there. Just popping a lightning rush, and in the end, SK can't push in yet. Alex actually coming around the side from this one. nRated going to be the target as the chains go down. Diamond coming in from the side. Deathmark is down, but it won't be needed as Genja picks up a kill.
Great roam by Alex right here. He has full control. He can do whatever he wants on the map. Jesiz can't do anything. He's going to try and push down the mid turret, but he doesn't really have too much damage to give it, and Gambit can go in, defend it. It's a great move right here, though.
That's Jesiz pushing back on that middle turret, and you can see that Diamond and Genja have started to move away from that bottom lane. They left Edward's cannon there to actually do the damage to the turret, and as they see Nidalee back off, they may just go back in. Does Diamond fancy his chances there at having to go on towards Candy Panda? Edward actually going to pop his ultimate, and the damage just not quite there. Candy Panda got out of range of him. It left Edward low. Diamond at half health, and Gambit forced to back away. Candy Panda 1 versus 2 saying, you can't bully me out that easy.
No ultimate on Diamond, and he really needs it. Every time he wants to go for a kill, he needs it. Very risky dragon started from Gambit because there's no ultimate again on Diamond. He won't really be able to do much in a team fight.
No, they've got Alex there who's got full health, and that may just be enough to scare nRated away from this one. They've got Candy Panda in that bottom lane, but in the end the dragon resets, and that won't be attempted just yet. I'm assuming that Diamond's going to want to go home here, spend up the cash that he's earned recently, and then get back in to have this fight, or certainly challenge around that dragon. Well, look at the positioning from Alex. He's got a ward down. He's now behind both Svenskeren and Jesiz.
But it's only him and Genja right here. Oh, really going for Jesiz?
Oh, bit of a face check into that one, but using that mobility to get away from things, making sure that he doesn't go down and get caught out and not even hooked or bandage tossed onto in that one. But SK have started off the dragon now. We've got the 2 top laners in the top lane. Darien does have his teleport available if he wants to come down, and just it looks like the sheer positioning here from Gambit has forced SK off. Alex is going straight back up mid.
This is so smart by Gambit because Alex has the great position. He can just go up, hit the turret, go back, go up again. So Gambit right now is just playing SK around, and they just wanted to stop and stall the Baron. And if you notice, just right here, teleport is up on Darien. He can come down and join if needed.
Genja actually just started off the dragon himself. That pulled SK back down towards it. And is that pink ward in position? And it is going to be SK taking that one out. They managed to pull in Alex. The knockup comes before he could properly get away, but he did get away just in the end there. The true shot barrage comes through, but that won't be enough to finish off. But that leaves Alex Itch now at very low HP as the dragon is started by SK.
Now 2 ultimates down from SK. Otherwise they have to advantage. Darien coming in with teleport.
Yeah, Genja just completely pulling him out of position there. Svenskeren going to be focused on. Deathmark going to pop. He puts down Curse of the Sad Mummy, but that is not enough to keep him alive. And that is Gambit just bullying their way into the dragon, getting a kill, and surely the dragon as well.
The Jinx execute damage from her ultimate, destroyed Svenskeren right here. But in the top lane, if he takes down this turret, it's actually a fan of trade for SK Gaming.
Freddy is hammering away on that one. He's not got many minions left there with him, but I think he does have the damage this wave to get rid of that one completely. And in fact, he says, you know what, I'm going to have to tank it up a couple of times, but that'll be fine enough. And that leaves SK now tied on the turrets. 3 behind in kills. Let's have a look at that play again down by Dragon.
It's pretty much again, Svenskeren is being left. He has to flash it, but at this point he's slowed. Dr. Mundo lands his cleaver. He can't really get away, and we see the execute damage from Jinx coming in.
Great pick up there. And just showing Gambit so patient whilst we we say so often, you know, Darien, he kind of runs around doing what he wants, and Diamond spends more time in the enemy jungle than his own. When it comes to actually being coordinated, there's not many, if any, teams that are better than Gambit at that.
No, but they're playing so aggressive on the map. I mean, Alex constantly roams around behind the enemy lines. Oh, that is a spear that hurts.
That is a spear that has full range from that one. Athene's Unholy Grail is all, along with those 2 Doran's rings that Jesiz has right now. He's still 20 CS behind. It looks like they might want to try and finish off finally this mid turret. They already did a lot of damage to it early on. Edward, though, on the little cannon, just forcing them straight out of there, saying, no, that's not going to happen. And look at this, Darien coming down from seemingly out of nowhere. He's going to get right on top of them. Here comes Edward. There is Alex Ich as well. nRated down below half health, and he's not going to escape from this one. He backs away towards Gambit to make sure the rest of his team can get away. But another 1-for-0 catching out of position kill from Gambit.
Yeah, every time SK tries to do something, Gambit comes in, picks up a kill, and then goes back to just farming, or, you know, right here they might actually try and force the blue buff. But so far, SK, they don't really lose the fights that hard. It's just 1 kill. But for Gambit, they just keep extending the lead.
And Edward just goes back there to drop a ward into the tri-bush before he scoops on out of things, and then he scans up on the other side. Okay, that's free 30 gold for me, and let's see if I can have a go at stealing your blue buff from range. Not this time, though. Jesiz actually got that one, and Svenskeren not forced to actually smite that one up this time as he was with that previous spawning.
Now, we have seen, though, a few times Alex being caught out by either a hook or the spear from Jesiz. So there are some, you know, points where SK can actually do the engages, but every time it happens, they're not really in a position to do anything with it. So far, Gambit has survived it, but it could actually end up costing more for Gambit. And we see Alex again behind the enemy lines.
Yeah, Deathfire Grasp is what he has, and he knows that, well, Freddy's obviously going to be the easier target, or is he? Goes straight in on towards Svenskeren, and the chain's not going to quite prop, but the rest of the team coming in from this one. Freddy now finds himself up against 2 men, plus the clone of Alex. Picks the right target, actually, but the death mark on him, that's not going to be enough damage to get the kill. But they came here for that red buff, did Gambit, and they are going to take it away. Diamond took a spear as well to the face as he walked out, but that will be a 1-for-0 in the end. SK's first kill of the game.
Yeah, but this time it was SK picking up the kill when Gambit tried to do a move. Alex wanted to burst down Svenskeren. He couldn't kill him right away, so Svenskeren managed to get out, and instead Freddy man mode jumped into 2 people and picked up the kill once he knew which one was Alex and which one was the clone.
Always good to have the right one when you're going to throw your ultimate in it. That's can be a little bit embarrassing sometimes if you pick the wrong one. Down in the bottom, Genja and Candy Panda. Actually, Genja having the advantage at this stage. A 20 CS or so lead, and he got a level on Candy Panda as well. You can see that 7,400 to the 6-7 of what Candy Panda has taken in gold overall throughout this game. If you look down some of the items as well, some more starting to come in there. The Trinity Force with the Vamp Scepter in for Candy Panda. The Bloodthirster Zeal combo down for Genja.
Yeah, the Trinity Force means, at least for his case side right here, Candy Panda versus Darien, he's not going to be able to kill Darien at all. So if there's a big team fight and Darien gets into the face of Candy Panda, he's going to remove him completely from the fight. At the same time, with all the burst damage Gambit has on the 4 other champions, even the cannon support right here, I'm not sure Svenskeren is going to be able to stay alive for long enough for SK to actually win the fight.
Diamond, we should touch on his items as well. Picking up that Zed, we're still not quite sure if that was meant to happen, whether they were supposed to pick the LeBlanc and the Zed, and the reaction from Genja in Champions League said that maybe that wasn't quite so planned and they left it too late. He has a Brutalizer Hex Drinker in there as well now. Yeah,
right now the pick is actually working for Gambit because this game is so slow. I mean, he was never forced to do anything. He could just farm. You see him, he has 112 CS already. He has 1 kill as well and an assist. So he's actually having pretty much the perfect early game for him.
Oh, Alex Ich coming in towards Freddy. There's the DFG. The burst going to come down. Alex actually going back out and is forced to jump away from this one. Oh, very close to falling in the end. Freddy picking right.
Oh,
there comes the super. Oh, no. So close to finishing off Freddy. Somehow he's lived through the burst from 2 men. Now we've got actually Diamond coming in and Edward, but they're actually going to guess wrong here and go towards the wrong bush. Freddy gets out somehow.
I mean, this is just a Freddy we've been used to seeing also from last week. He's just him versus 2 or 3 people of the enemy team. He survives the burst due to his barrier from Alex, and he actually almost picks up the kill. And even the rocket, because he could lifesteal on the minions, he didn't die.
So SK have finally got rid of that middle turret. We've been talking about it for quite a while. It finally does go away. Speaking of Diamond and Darien, we talked about their go wherever you want kind of mentality. They were actually behind SK Gaming as that all went down. Are they going to try and close in? Tristan is actually further up that mid lane, and Diamond has already taken a bit of damage. That will force Gambit to kind of position around and get back on their side of the map. Dragon is on the map though now.
Dragon is on the map. There's pretty much all ultimates are ready for this, except for Alex's right now, but it's going to go up in a very short time. Will SK try and fight for this?
Darien just playing the tanky front line, and by the time the rest of SK come in, that Dragon has already gone down. Edward actually moving forward. Are they going to go for it? Darien has popped his ultimate now, charging in there. It's Svenskeren that they're focused on. There's the pull on towards Edward. He takes his ultimate instantly from that. Knocked back though by Tristana. Where's the damage coming down here towards nRated? Genja still full HP, tries to land the zap, which doesn't, so it flashes in, picks up the kill at nRated. That's going to get him the movement speed going in. Alex gets himself another one. Genja's going in all on his own here. Finally, the rest of the team come around. Genja pays the price, but that's a 3-for-1 for Gambit.
And Freddy actually saved Edward. He ultimated him, so he was not. Oh, come in. Nope.
It's Mondo.
It's Mondo. It's Darien as well. But Edward actually got shot out of the whole team fight, and that meant that he didn't die, and there was no reset or anything for Freddy, and they didn't manage to pick up anything from it, and instead Gambit could just start picking up the kills, and once Jinx gets the first kill, her passive procs, she can just keep chasing. Genja did maybe go a little bit too aggressive in the tower, but they managed to pick up 2 more kills.
Yeah, and this game has been a strange one, I think. It's not what we used to see. You know, it doesn't follow the strict Gambit guidelines of how a game really goes down. We've seen very much picks, although the champions like Zed and LeBlanc really add to that. That's what they've got in their team comp to actually work with. And we're now 25 minutes into this one. That was the first real big impact team fight for Gambit.
I mean, so far, the lineup from SK has been really good at disengaging. So every time there was a fight they didn't really want to take, they could just get out, and Gambit could just pick up Svenskeren, who's like the guy left alone. He doesn't really have anything to get out with. Everyone else has the jumps or the speed boost from nRated himself. So SK has just been saying, you get this objective, we don't want to fight. Okay, you get a kill, fair enough, we're just going to keep extending the game. It's okay for us. It does mean, though, that Gambit is in a great position, and as we saw in this team fight, even though they were split out when it started and Edward got hooked in, they actually still won the fight.
Well, while we've got this pause going on, let's take a look back at that last team fight here that Gambit came out so nicely on top of, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so we see actually the Gambit guys. But we see the team fight right here coming in. Now it's on my screen as well. We see the hook coming in, and instantly as the hook comes in on Edward, he actually gets shot out, and there's nothing, SK can do to try and kill him. And at this point, they have used everything on the support, and now Darien is there, and Genja is there untouched. He flashes in, gets the reset, get his passive proc, and he can actually go in for, more kills. He really goes deep though, because Diamond is probably calling go, 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 as he has his ultimate, and Genja is just full man-moding in. He will die for it, but they do pick up a kill.
Yeah, and a crazy one again. Gambit going deeper and deeper and deeper, as you said, Genja. Maybe just a little bit too far into that one. But this pause hopefully will be rectified here in just a couple of moments, and we can get this one back underway. Just to kind of recap where we are, a 5,000 gold lead, which I think I've said that quite a few times over and over, because that lead has seemingly stayed around that level for quite a while now.
It's pretty much been the story of the game. SK try to do things, Gambit comes in, stops it, and then picks up a kill in return. And then, nothing really comes from it, except Gambit just keeps extending their lead slowly. For SK to get back in this game now, though, we need some great spears, and we need some great hooks from nRated, and have to not shoot out the target before it's actually dead.
Well, those spears are only going to be getting stronger here for Jesiz as he farms up, and I feel like he's had that themes for a long while without adding too much on top of it as well. And actually right now, after getting the blue buff, he's just going to be headed home, so I'm assuming going to be spending up whatever pot of cash he's got saved from that last one, and it will be a needlessly large rod and a blasting wand as well.
Now, on Candy Panda, he's also going for the Blade of the Rune King. If they get 2 of those, they will actually do a lot of damage on Darien when he runs into the face, and it will also help him survive the burst on both LeBlanc and Zed if they manage to, you know, activate it while the whole burst thing is going on. So I like the pickup, and once they complete it, it will actually going to be funny to see if Darien will die rather fast or if he's just still going to tank everything.
And Darien just got bored there of trying to finish off the minions and just decides, you know what, I'm just going to push straight in and take down that turret, which, now we've had the changes. The bottom towers are weaker at this point as nRated hooks out.
TP coming in.
Trying to get Diamond, and we do have the TP. We also have Kennen on the top side of this one. Are SK going to be able to avoid this big fight that's coming their way from Gambit? They've got vision there with that ward, but Gambit are trying to head them off on the top side. They're going to spot Jesiz. Darien gets hit with the spear and losing that much health straight away from the tank. Gambit back off.
Once again, due to the mobility on SK Gaming, they can back out. Whenever Gambit wants to fight, SK is like, nope, we don't want to take this fight, we're just going to back everyone together, 5 men. They stop chasing from Gambit's side, and then nothing happens. Oh, Hook coming in!
Oh, they've got Diamond in there. Is he going to go down? He does get his death mark off, but it's onto nRated. The damage not going to be too huge. Darien has to pop his ulti, but SK might try and charge in for this one. Alex was just waiting off to the side, as was Genja, and that's a pickup, just a pick-off kill, really, again from SK.
But this is what SK need. Every time they can land a hook, get a kill, they claw themselves back into the game. Yeah, sure, they're 5k behind, but you won't be able to survive this hook unless you're actually Dr. Mundo.
Well, Alex here is doing his blue buff. As he scans, he realizes that it's actually in full vision right now of the SK team. They've just cleared out the pink ward that was there before. The blue buff has gone to reset,
nice.
And it gets hooked over the top of the wall. And SK say, thank you very much for the blue.
Yeah, SK Gaming has both the Blitzcrank and an Italy to try and steal the blue buff. So wisely enough by Alex, he did scan it for the ward, but it was too late. And as soon as he started it, SK moved and they just took it.
So things gonna slow down here again for a second. Alex, as you can see, just trying to move his way around, check for any wards going in there. He's switched over now to that sweeping lens, which obviously gives him the ability to set things up in a brush and check if there's actually anything there with him while he goes.
Yeah, Alex is definitely gonna keep doing what he's been doing so far. Just walk in behind the enemy lines, make sure he's not standing in a ward, and then whenever someone from SK walks by, he's gonna try and burst them down. And he doesn't even care if it's Svenskeren or someone else on the team.
Diamond there, just getting his shadow down before he puts the warning so that he can dash straight back off to it. We've got actually this dragon coming up in just less than 2 minutes time, which, you know, now more than ever, obviously those gold bonuses that build up over time means that dragon in a game where the gold is at 5,000 used to be not a huge amount, and that's certainly increased, but a dragon at this point certainly helps bring it back.
I mean, if SK managed to pick it up and a few kills with it, this game is completely even. But I just noticed one thing. I've never seen a support with 71 CS by 28 minutes. Right now, Edward is running around the map. He's picking up farm wherever he can. I've seen Genja leave the farm for him, actually, because he wants to get these few items on Kennen so he can really start doing something in team fights.
Well, and he's certainly getting there as well. Haunting guys already in. Well, looks like the start of the Crystal Scepter as well, with the Giant's Belt and the Amp Tome as well. And we can see that Darien seems to be pretty committed to causing a lot of disruption on this top side there, as we do see Svenskeren actually smiting away the Wraith, going on towards Freddy, and half health just gone straight away, just like that. In the mid lane, actually, LeBlanc is taking a lot of damage there. Is the Mimic coming out? They pick the right target. Can they get the last hit? Alex, no, is still alive.
Oh.
True Shot Barrage dodged away from, and there's the clone again, hit by the spear. That gets them out. The hook actually not landing there onto Kennen. The top turret did fall in the meantime, but SK are closing in. But there is Edward turning it around. Jezza's going to be blown to pieces, and nRated not got much health left either. And now Alex is pushing in on the top side. That's a double kill for Genja. They're going to get another one here, and that right there is 3 for nothing, and it's not over yet. nRated's going to fall. That's a kill for Edward. Genja's assist means he can chase after Candy Panda. The zap doesn't land though, and Candy Panda finds himself last man alive. That looked like it was going to go horribly wrong for Gambit, and they got 4 kills and no one died.
The fact that Alex managed to survive the gank on him meant that the whole Gambit team could then turn around and then go down towards SK. We saw both Edward, Genja and Diamond jumping on nRated and Svenskeren, or was it Jesiz, in the jungle and just picking up the kill. But Alex should have died. Definitely should have died in this one. He dodged the ultimate beautifully though, and that meant that now Gambit can do pretty much whatever they want, and it was a beautiful team fight all around.
This one now, they've started off the Baron. There is full vision. They are spotted right now by the ward. Can they get in though? Alex is bullying them at the front. There goes a true shot barrage across. That's only really going to help them out, and it will be finished off there with a smite of Diamond. Baron going the way of Gambit.
But this risky play from Gambit, it works out in this game, but they could also have gone horribly wrong, especially now if Alex actually had that. Oh, he will burst.
Straight on towards Freddy, and not quite enough damage just yet there from Alex. And missing the chains anyway coming out. That could have changed things as Jesiz did just get his blue buff before Gambit swooped on this bottom side of the map. So they're going to get the Baron. Picked up 4 kills in that last fight just before the Baron kill. And they get the Dragon as well. All of a sudden, the gold's at 10,000.
Yeah, I mean, huge lead right now for Gambit, but SK has actually been doing the right things. They try to punish Gambit every time they, went into risky positions. They try to gank Alex right here in the mid lane, but Gambit has always been one step ahead, and then always like, a bit ahead in gold, a bit stronger in the team fights, so they could just punish them whenever SK didn't manage to pick up the kill.
And SK have got a couple of different options here as well. They can poke right back with the Nidalee, with the Ezreal. They can grab some on him with Blitzcrank as well, but you've got to hit the skill shots here. That is the important thing. And they've got Diamond now pushing up that mid lane all alone.
And Diamond is level 16, so if they send someone to try and stop him, he will win the 1v1. This is where Zed is really, really strong. And when there's no tank, except for the Mumu, who obviously cannot stop the Zed, there's nothing SK can actually do against him.
And then right now not sending anyone there. Actually, Ezreal did come down. Candy Panda going to be too late to that party though, as Edward just speeds in and out, dodging the damage from that spear. And Candy Panda certainly can't face off against Diamond at this stage. Although we'll be able to arcane shift away. But there is Alex diving into the middle, and Freddy again. About a quarter of his health remaining. Darien just getting into the front line here, just making sure that they hit him, that he tanks all the damage. That'll be enough for Gambit, and they pick up that inner turret.
Yeah, the siege tactic for Gambit is not just wait for the minion wave, hit the turret. No, it is Alex jumping into the face, getting someone low, and then the rest goes in and hits the turret when SK is too low to actually fight. Very nice. And again, Diamond is going to be such a pain for SK to deal with.
And we can see that Diamond right now on top of the red buff. He secures that one, and he's going to go in towards Candy Panda. There's the spear. A split-second flash will get him over the wall, and he's back towards his shadow. He's not going to be easy to track down. The spear not got the range. Svenskeren comes in, gets the ulti off on towards Diamond, and he's finished off by Jesiz.
He almost managed to escape, but there was nothing more to do. And meanwhile, Genja was pushing the bot turret. He had 3 people coming to kill Diamond. He almost got away. I actually think if he didn't go in for or try to kill on Candy Panda, he could have gone away pretty safely. But he thought there was, less people from SK, and he could actually pick up a kill.
And all that time away with 3 men chasing down Diamond allowed the damage for Genja down bottom as well. Always a welcome sign. Genja actually now 4-1-5 Infinity Edge on top of that Bloodthirster and the Zeal. And well, he just keeps going with the items.
Round 2 right here. There's Barry on Freddy. Oh, he's going in.
This time he's not getting away. Alex is not going to miss a point-blank set of shots. And the ward was there as well. So pretty much an easy pickup from Alex. He's done that consistently throughout the game as Edward going to get caught out here by Candy Panda. He actually turns the damage around. And this is a support against the AD carry. Edward going low. He's going to fall. No, he actually got the kill before falling from that one. That was Edward's killing spree that Candy Panda just shut down. That's the support, folks.
That is the support, but this is why you give so much farm to Edward. He will be able to carry the game, and Svenskeren going in, he might die.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a grave mistake for them. Alex picks up that kill. It allows them to charge on forward towards Jesiz. Cleaver actually lands. Darien's between both turrets. There's the execute from the Super Mega Death Rocket, and Jesiz forced right back onto the base. Are they going to have enough damage here to keep going? They're waiting for the minions to actually come up, or for the big minion Darien to actually tank up that turret, or are they? They turn around, go for Freddy, who's lost half of his health already. Jesiz is off to the side. Finally, the minions come up mid. Diamond's going to hammer away. This is an inhib turret, and Genja wants the bottom one as well.
But this has not been a fun game for Svenskeren. Every time he goes in, he just dies. Every single time so far. Darien goes onto him, puts a cleaver on his face, and then you just slowly kill him now. And Alex, he's just jumping around everywhere.
We have 2 inhibitors down. Gambit, statistically in this kind of position, do not waste time in finishing games, although that spear there on towards Alex Hitch might slow them down somewhat. Darien has a half HP. They actually pull him into that one. He flashes away from it. Ultimate use actually, and that's because Diamond's in there as well. There's a lot of damage coming down here. Alex Hitch is going to fall. They can clean up this one. Darien gets knocked in the air, but he's regenning like an absolute beast. bandage toss not got the range on it, and Darien is almost at full health again as he turns around on the steps. Diamond got away. It's a 1-for-1 there. They stopped him pushing any further, which is what they were looking for.
Darien and Diamond almost died this time, but they managed to get out. Edward wasn't even there for the fight. Yet Gambit just stayed in the base and just, danced around. Will this be, if he actually goes for this one again and wins it, this is going to be the best support player I've seen in a long time.
And also not the best days of Candy Panda. That's not what you want to see after spending all that time farming against him as a support and then end up 1v1 and both of you dying out to that one. But that just shows that Edward, we had the call. Alex Hitch said, I wanted Edward to play a support that's got damage. And, well, if that's not a support with damage, then I don't know what is. But
I think we can agree, if your support can solo your AD carry, or at least go 1-for-1 versus him, it's not looking too good for your team overall. And once we actually see, or if we will see a 5v5, I think as well, like the damage from Edward, the slow he brings in as well, is simply also going to be so huge and pretty much impossible for SK to deal with.
I see an extra blasting one now picked up for Edward, so he's not wasting any time in getting even more damage down. Darien, we should point out his build as well, because it just doesn't really get much tankier than what he's got there, with the Warmogs in there, the Randuin, Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage. We saw actually here Alex getting hooked in, and this time they'll finish him off, and Alex trying to pick someone out. SK will be happy to take him and maybe slow what Gambit's push can be.
And now SK has to try and force the fight. There's no ultimate on a Mumu, but they have to try. It's 5v4, and this is the chance for them to actually come back.
Are they going to try and chase them down? Darien keeps the cleavers coming, keeps regenning. 20 health per tick that he's getting from that one. You just can't really do enough damage to him right now. Even if you blast him down with the spear, he regens it straight back up. They need Freddy basically to stop that happening with the health regen reduction.
I mean, we saw in the last team fight they almost took down Darien, but it took a lot of time for them, had to invest a lot of damage in it. Meanwhile, though, look at Diamond just pushing.
Yeah, they kind of forgot about this bottom lane. Diamond going up there. He's got that Guardian Angel in now as Candy Panda throws out his ultimate. The rest of Gambit here pushing that top lane. Don't forget, Alex Hitch is dead at this point. This is 4-on-5 at this stage of the game. We see Genja actually went low. I think he caught a spear actually from that one. And now Diamond starts to move up towards this top side. Darien continues. There's plus 20s appearing left, right, and center on him. Tanks a turret, not a problem for him whatsoever.
And Gambit can back off now, buy some items, and then go for the Nashor again, and then pretty much return to this and do the exact same thing. They don't have to really loosen the pressure right now, though, because there's nothing SK can do to stop them.
But do they want to back off? The fact that Alex Hitch walks all the way up middle into the enemy base tells me that they might just want to fight this one out now, without waiting and taking themselves another Baron. More wards just coming down there to try and gain some vision as Darien going to take a lot of damage, comparatively a lot of damage. That's a Mundo, which is probably the same amount of health as most champions that are in the game at this point. I'm not sure exactly how much he's got, but it must be, 4,700 health at this point, as we are going to see there. The ultimate coming in, Deathmark, not enough damage. He gets onto the fountain, no, not enough damage done, but he forces him away nonetheless, and that means the damage is going in on towards the Nexus turrets. This top lane now finally going to be pushed out by Genja as he's got the time. Darien comes back in with that ultimate running. There's the ultimate out. Svenskeren as he goes on towards Genja, but does he have the damage here to finish him off? Genja just turning around, flashes away. He manages to survive. Now they go off towards Darien. Is he going to go down? He's regenning up, and they've not got enough to finish him off. Super Mega Death Rocket comes through. This time Svenskeren lives through. Meanwhile, down on the bottom side, Gambit is still pushing.
And they managed to take down the inhib while they were chasing up top versus Genja and Darien. Gambit is just running around everywhere on this map, and they don't really want any 5v5 fights. They just want these small skirmishes everywhere, and they're just winning out on it. It's like a very beautiful play, and Candy Panda might go down.
Oh, not quite that. DFG used a little bit earlier on the bottom side of the map. Diamond's Guardian Angel is still available. The Baron is on the map right now, and they could quite happily go back and take it in not much time whatsoever. And it looks like they may now eventually start to back away from things. The wave's going to get pushed out. Alex Hitch scans to see if there's any vision on him, and he's going to wait for someone to come out. But the fact is, they can't really leave their base right now, SK. They've got minions streaming in left, right, and center.
And that was the thing from before. Gambit didn't back off to do Nashor because they knew they had the super minions putting extra pressure on SK Gaming. So there's no reason for them to actually back off. Now they can go for it, or they can just go back in, do the same thing, put pressure on both inhibs, and pick them up, whenever they actually feel like it.
That could be in the next 5 minutes. That could be in the next 20 minutes. I mean, Gambit, a win's a win. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We say that so often. And the safest way to do it right now maybe would be to wait, take themselves that Baron, and then start to push Edward, who's now got a Void Staff added into all his other items. Support Kennen, ladies and gents.
I just want to see him go in and just melt someone when the team fight starts. And then just afterwards, yeah, I'm the support. What are you going to do about it?
He's almost got as much farm as Svenskeren right now. He's only 20 CS behind that one, and we can see that finally Gambit do move over towards the Baron. Nothing that SK can do here about this.
To be fair though, to Svenskeren's farm, he's been stuck in the base of SK pretty much the entire game. Gambit has controlled the map, and there were always someone in the jungle of SK, so every time Svenskeren tried to farm, Alex would be there, hit him in the face, force him to recall. And every time a team fight started, Svenskeren went in, died. So he hasn't really had any chance to get any farm.
And that whole time that they were doing Baron, Darien actually was on the steps of the base, just making sure that the minion waves didn't push out, and he's actually going in there onto Candy Panda. And yes, he takes damage, but he's regenerating at 40 per tick.
He will regen it really fast, but there was actually quite a lot of damage coming out from there. I mean, Candy Panda, will you see a fight?
Yeah, Svenskeren going in, they get the ultimate on towards Genja. That could be the opening they're looking for here to at least defend the base, but Freddy at the backside gets a death mark put onto him. That's half of his health gone. Edward picks one up. There's the execution as well from the Super Mega Death Rocket. And SK now left with 3-man, but Gambit, they're not super healthy here. If they can hit spears and some Qs from Ezreal, who's now been finished off, surely this is going to be game. We see the second Nexus choice taken. Darien actually getting pulled in. Triple kill for Genja. The auto attack landing. There's the Nexus turrets down. Gambit push in with the Baron, and they push in on towards the fountain. There's a 5-man team, and they might get away. A couple of them do. The Nexus turret goes down, and the Nexus itself falls. Gambit, in 42 minutes and 9 seconds, finish off SK Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Genja was left untouched in the back. He just flashed out from the Mumu ultimate, and then there's no follow-up damage on him, and he just went in whenever, the fight settled down a little bit, and he just picked up kill after kill, got his passive, and, just kept steamrolling, as we actually saw him do early in the game as well.
Something tells me that a few of you with the hashtag LCS Big Plays might be talking about that little fountain dive there by the end of things. They lost a couple of men, but I don't know if Darien was one. Yeah, Darien did actually die, by the way, for the first time in the game when he went onto the fountain there. Totally ruining his KDA.
I mean, but this is just the new Darien. He doesn't really die anymore. He just runs around. He puts so much pressure on the enemy team, and he's so annoying to play against, because whenever you want to do something, you have to keep in mind that there's a Darien running around in a different lane, pushing down something. And even if you want to go kill him, he's Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, his regen there by the end didn't really mean you could take him down even if you hit the spear. The Ezreal was hitting everything. If you pulled him into the middle of your team, he just wasn't going to be dying. The Fountain did quite have the damage right at the end to give him his first death of the game. But that was a bit of a different style to what we've become used to from Gambit, I think we can say. We did have that fight around 20 minutes, but it almost looked as though that wouldn't really come, as though SK almost forced that to happen in this game. Gambit were definitely playing the pick game.
I mean, this was just two combos, one who wanted to pick the kills, pick the fights, and the other one who just said, you know what, we don't want to fight, we're just going to run out. Gambit constantly tried to set something up, they constantly tried to fight, but SK just kept disengaging, and that was why we had this whole a bit weird mid-game where nothing really happened except for one kill here, one kill there. In the end, though, SK tried to change the tactic to catch out Gambit. It worked for a little bit until we actually had the one on Alex where he managed to survive, and then Gambit just collapsed on them, took the Baron afterwards, and then he just pushed on to the base.
So Zed in the jungle then. We weren't quite sure whether they meant to actually pick that one in. I hope we'll find that one out later. But how did you rate it, actually? Diamond had a couple of moments where you think maybe went a little bit too deep in there, but also, I mean, he ended 3-2-6, not a massive scoreline, but his farm was constantly high throughout that game.
Yeah, he did the thing he needed to do on set. Like, he got a lot of early game farm, he got an early game kill. He pretty much ignored the solo lane. I mean, the solo lane for Darien. Yeah. He just said, you know what, I don't care about us losing the bot tower, I just want to farm. That meant that once they got to the fight, he could start picking up targets. That was smart. Alex, for me, though, if you look away from Genja's score and Genja's team fight in this game, but if you look at Alex, he was constantly behind the enemy line, making plays. It did go wrong a few times, but at the same time, it worked for him a lot of times.
And it could have been even more. He was so close to bursting, I think, Freddy down 3 or 4 other times where he barely survived it. But guys,